So in between each patient, how do I get the next set ready? If I have needles that have been opened, I'm gonna show that right now. Let's say that I had a 5-pack opened. This is important to know because it's important to see.
Welcome to the Dr. J.J. Thomas Podcast.
Welcome to the Dr. J.J. Thomas Podcast. I'm J.J. Thomas. I often get questions about what type of needle do you use? Who do you like to buy your needles from? How do you arrange your cart, etc. So here it is for those of you asking. I have it all right here. This is our actual cart we use in our facility, and we're going to go through step by step what we make sure is, is stocked readily in the cart pretty much every day, all the time. Honestly, I actually will start with even that. We have wonderful volunteers, and people are eager to learn all the time. And because I'm a cash-based practice, I really do discourage volunteers kind of hanging around and sitting on top of my patient while we're working on them. It's just not something we do in this environment. But I do give them the opportunity to hear from a distance and start to develop a relationship with us through this volunteer opportunity. And one of their biggest jobs is to keep our cart stocked because it's so important. And so what does a stocked cart look like? First of all, I'll start with the cart itself. This baby I got when I first opened my brick and mortar shop in 2015. It's an IKEA cart. It was like, I think $30 at the time. It's been amazing and it's held up beautifully. So the cart is perfect. It gives me 3 tiers that I can get everything I need on for needling and for things that I often do around a needling treatment. So we'll start with, obviously we need to be clean. We need to use a clean needle technique, right? So we need the cotton balls. And the nice big fluffy ones are kind of important. They don't have to be super big and dense, but they need to be not the teeny ones that are going to be hard to work with. I prefer this alcohol bin. This one in particular, I've had other ones that don't press down very easily. I'm going to move this way. But essentially, you take your cotton ball, you make sure it's open, and then it presses down nice and easily, and I have a nice saturated cotton ball. Again, when our volunteers come around and do our carts though, it's not like, oh, is there any left and I should fill it? It's every time they come in, they're filling it because we spend minutes with our patient. Every minute counts with our patients. So when the volunteers come in, they fill this to the rim every time. So we have our alcohol, we have our cotton balls. Now to the needles. I tend to buy 2 different needles mainly. I buy from Lhasa OMS, and oftentimes I buy these needles from Lhasa OMS. These are the DBC Spring 10s. I like them. These are the little ones. These are the 30 by 30. So these are what I use often for maybe the masseter, especially if I'm going obliquely. I use this on upper trap. I use this on lower trap if I'm threading across it. I might use it in the perineals if it's not a real meaty perineal on someone. And then in addition to that, I'm going to put these aside over here actually. We have the very small facial needles we use sometimes. They're only 0.15 in length. So 0.25 by 0.15, as anyone who needles knows. As needles get longer, they get a little bit thicker. So these 0.15s don't have to be very thick. They're 0.25 in terms of thickness. So this is my small container. I like these. I should talk about these containers. These are all from the Container Store. I usually have a trash bin. So let's go to that. So I have a trash bin, and this is my needle bin. So when I needle someone, I have my gloves. First, I swab them. Let's talk about that. If we're going to be efficient, and we'll talk about this in our masterclass, if we're going to be efficient, I palpate. I know the area I'm going to treat, but then right away I'm gonna swab that area. Let's say it's my arm. I'm not going to actually needle myself, but swab that area. That goes in the trash container, right? Then let's say I'm going to take a single. This is a 50. So I'm going to take a single needle, and so the trick, guys, to getting these out, the ones with the little tabs, this is an eye dry needle. These are beautiful needles, by the way. They're really smooth when you use them. They're one of my favorites. So you take the tab out before it comes out of the tube. Like, you don't even take the tube out of the packaging yet. Take that tab out, throw it in the trash bin. Now I grab my needle and my tube, pinch it, and then I do this, okay? Then I can use these fingers to pull the trash piece out so I'm not dirtying any of the other things. Now this small container I use for my other needles that I'm gonna use within that session. Or if I open a 5 or a 10 pack, I put it there so I don't get it confused, okay? Then I use this needle, boom, 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 tap it, throw the tube in here, throw the needle in the needle container, and then this is still my trash bin, this is still my needles that I'm working with bin, okay? So that's just a sequencing thing that will, again, save you minutes, but every minute counts when we're working with our patients. And then this again goes back in the trash bin. So we have our nice little trash bin. Let's talk more about the needles again. So I moved these over here, but I went from 30 millimeter in length. This is my 40, where my glass is. I'm pretty sure this is my 40. Yeah, 30 by 40. These are the iDry needle, single needles, right? But in the same 40 millimeter bin, I have my 10 packs if I want them. If I have somebody that I'm like, this is the DBC Spring 10, if I have somebody that I know I'm gonna need more than like 5 needles, then I'm gonna pull out the 10 pack likely. Or if I think I'm only gonna use a few, I'll choose these because they're really smooth and really nice. The other time I choose this over the 10 pack is if somebody had a recent surgery. You know, I want every needle be single use then. Or if they're just generally not quite, if I'm a little worried about their health in general, and if I'm really worried about their health, then I'm not going to needle them, right? But if I feel like, you know what, I think they might be at greater risk for some type of infection, even though risk of infection is very low, I'm still gonna go with the single needle rather than using the same tube in like a 10 or a 5 pack. So like I said, these are my favorite, but for speed, sometimes I'll use the DBC Spring 10s. I use these a lot, like I said, when I use a lot of needles. The next bin has my 50s. So again, I have the option of the single needles. I don't have them in this container, but on the 60s, I have the 5 packs by iDry Needle, which I also really like. So this is iDry Needle needles, and they're a 5 pack, so a single tube with 5 needles in a pack. I have them as an option as well, which I really love. On the 50 side, I have the 10 packs here, and then it goes up to the 60s, 10 pack, 5 pack, and then I have, behind here, I have 60s that are the Professional Dry Needling Series singles, okay? Then I have the 75 PDN series by iDry Needle, boom, boom. And then I have back here, the Hundies, as they call them. They're 105 in length. These are for my NFL guys, my big legs, my mostly big legs and quads and hamstrings and butts and things like that. Yeah, usually those guys. So that's it as far as the needles go. Another important thing on my cart is, this was given to me by a patient of mine. I'm going to tag you in it. Years and years ago at my old facility. Again, it was like one of the first patients I had at my old facility. And it's a sewing needle magnet. And I kept dropping my needles and I was like, oh my God, where did it go? Where did it go? And she came in one day with this sewing magnet. And it's great. So I like to have one of these on every cart if possible. So the nice IKEA cart, it sticks to it. If I drop a needle and I can't find it because my eyes are like, I don't see it, they're hard to see, I just kind of wave it around and I find it. And this thing is like, you know, dollars, and it saves a lot of stress. So it's great to have a magnet on there. Obviously, we have our gloves here. And then lotion, I tend to use the Biotone mainly if I'm not doing like the windback treatments or something like that. It has the arnica, which I really like. But mostly I really like the pumping mechanism because I just think it's gross to be sticking your hand in like, you know, in a tub. So the pumping mechanism's really nice. And then I do have my Naked Warrior CBD cream for like, I use this a lot if a patient, if I needle them, and oftentimes it happens with patients who haven't been needled a lot yet before, and I feel like maybe they're gonna be pretty sore from our treatment, then I'll end the treatment, the needling treatment, with a massage using the Naked Warrior CBD cream. You can use whatever you like. I tend to really I like this. It's made of good quality ingredients. I have a lot of faith in the owner of the company. He's a leader and a veteran himself, and I just have a lot of respect for him and his company. So shout out to those guys at Naked Warrior, and their product's awesome. It helps patients feel better. It helps dissipate the soreness from the needling. So I like to have this on my cart as well. Moving on, we need to talk about some other things like stim. So we have our point stimulator, which in our office, we usually keep this. I'm sure if you're using a point stimulator, you do the same thing. We keep it wrapped up like this, but we also keep it rubber banded here with a tube, so that, because my hands are not as big as I'd like them to be sometimes, so it's always been awkward for me to like do this and hold on to this, etc. So this way, this just holds it down for me, and then we can just use the winder thing to adjust our level. So the point stimulator is great when you don't have a lot of time to set up like a 6-channel. Let's go to the 6-channel though, because I've found some, don't mind my coffee. So this is another IKEA purchase. This was a recent IKEA purchase. I was actually in there shopping for something with kids, and I was like, oh my God, this could work. I was always searching for something to organize these lines, because if you use this unit, the ES180, then you know these wires are great because they're nice and long, but the problem is that they're like bird's nests. They get wound up, and they're so hard to keep from getting tangled. So I bought this, and then my staff had a great idea of buying these little magnet clipper things. So you can keep them keep them wound in the magnet clipper thing, and then you can clip it to the sides if you want. And you can even do it, so we do usually 2 on this side, and then I'll flip this around so you can see. It has a pocket on the other side. So again, this just helps us keep the wires a little bit more organized in between treatment sessions. And then when you want to set it, there's enough room to just set it. Usually we end up setting it on our lap, turning it on, and adjusting it that way. So this IKEA thing, let me turn this off. This IKEA thing was like, I don't know, $15, I think. And I've tried all kinds of ways of, different holders, and this has been the best thing. You can also buy they have little, like, those little tab things that you could wind them on that if you want. So I just thought I'd share that solution with you. This is what we use in here. Last couple things on the needling cart. Obviously, I'll say, while we're talking about soft tissue stuff, hand sanitizer, but I prefer to go wash my hands in between treatments. A instrument-assisted device tool, either Graston or I forget what the other one's called right now. So I'll just take out the formal names. So I like this sometimes before or after a dry needling treatment. Also, always have a reflex hammer and a pinwheel, because if you're assessing the neuromuscular system well and gonna target the right areas, you're gonna need to check neurological pieces like reflexes and pinwheel and sensation and myotomes and dermatomes and all that good stuff that we review in our we review in detail and heavily in both our primal integrations and primal foundations courses. Another thing I really like to have on all of my carts is just an instant cold pack. This is great if, every once in a while you're going to have someone who gets vasovagal on the table with needles, and when you have this right next to you, it's great. Just pop it, snap it to activate, pop it on the back of their neck. It'll settle down their nervous system so well. And in addition to that, another thing that's great to have on hand that we always do is like Hershey Kisses or some type of quick sugar. Because again, if they, just like when you go give blood and sometimes you might get a little woozy, they try to give you chocolate or give you sugar. That's why it really helps settle the nervous system, and you'll see their pupils change immediately with just a little Hershey Kiss. So it's different than like the sticker in the doctor's office, but kind of a similar concept, and it works every time. So keep a little thing of chocolate. It's a nice thing to have on hand just in case a patient gets a little vasovagal on you. Everything is set up in a way that'll have a nice clean environment. All the needles are kept well organized, so that I can quickly get the needle, so that I can quickly access the needle I need for each treatment. I have my trash. I should actually go through that real quick. So in between each patient, how do I get the next set ready. If I have needles that have been opened, I'm gonna show that right now. Let's say that I had a 5-pack opened. This is important to know because it's important to see. So let's say I used one of these needles on someone, and then, they were all better, so I didn't need to use any more, but I have 4 left, but their motion's perfect, so they don't need any more. I had set these needles there in case I needed them for that patient. That patient's done. Have a great day. I'll see you next week. Guess what? These are no good, and it doesn't matter. It's not a waste because the patient's better, but we throw these 4 needles back in or throw them in the sharps container. This is now trash, and then we just dump this whole thing into the trash can. Nice and easy. And that's it. So it makes setup for the next, now that's all ready for the next patient. All the old needles are away. I don't have to worry about using somebody else's pack of needles on someone else. The cart is ready to go for the next treatment, and I have everything I might need. So that's it. I hope that helps you guys. If you have any other questions or you want to join one of our master classes, the last one of the year is tonight, but I'll be hosting some more in 2025. So make sure you check in. Take care.